This past week, I found some interesting portfolios. So in this video, I'm going to share with you 12 of them and talk about what they did right and what they did wrong. Let's get into it. The first portfolio that we're going to look at is rosekwon.com. Now, first glance, I love the colors, I love the style, love the font, I love this big random bubble that's moving around. I'm not really sure why it's there, but what I do know is it draws my attention to the words, which is fantastic. The one thing that I don't like on this that Rose has done is the title says Rose is a product designer making pixels at Coinbase. That's awesome. It validates her that she works for a big company, right? That's really nice to be able to put the name of Coinbase on your website. But what she's done here is has a hover effect where you can click and it actually links out to Coinbase's website. And I would say you don't need to be promoting Coinbase's website. They have that taken care of. So what instead Rose should be doing is promoting herself and really advertising what she does well. And I think she does that as you scroll down below the fold. She's got all these different projects, and as you click through to these, it walks you through her different case studies. She's got a few publications, and then down here at the bottom is the first time where you see any sort of like call to action, which is let's grab coffee together, and then you've got an email address here. Now Rose might not be open to projects, and so a general like call to action, right? Contact me, book a call, book a project. Those might not be relevant, but I do feel like that in most cases you should have some sort of call to action up here. There is one other option to go from your work and then also about Rose. And on this page, you'll see a little bit more about her, but you still are not seeing like a picture that really shows her face. I would say a really close-up picture of her smiling makes people feel connected. It makes people feel like they at least know you a little bit. Overall, I think it's a good website. I think a lot more could be done, but in this case, Rose might not want anything else to be done with this website other than having a portfolio out there. So well done. All right, the next portfolio is jay.xu.com. Not really sure how to say that, but I actually really liked this one. Really simple. Nothing fancy here. Black background, white and gray text, and then they've got this blue highlight color. I love this little like animated, I don't know what you would call like an emoji face or something. This is a great way to show your face. I still would prefer to see a picture of her actual face, but this is definitely a step in the right direction. So as we scroll down, again, showcasing all of her work here, I think this is done really well. As you click through to these, it's going to take you to the case studies. And again, you don't want to waste time. You want to just get right into your work because that's what people are looking for. From my experience, the number one thing that people need to see from you on your portfolio is work that speaks to them, that they can look at and say, ooh, I like how that was done. I would like my project to look just like that. And so the more of these projects that you can put out there and having a wide variety of them is really going to help people find something that they like and that resonates with them. A simple layout for your case studies is also going to help here. Overall, I'm actually a huge fan of how they laid these out. More images, less text. That's what people want to see. So overall, I'm actually a huge fan of this one. Our next portfolio is ryansteffen.co. I like this one. I like the white background. I like the black text. I actually really like this font. It kind of reminds me of a variation of the font used by Dropbox, but more of a condensed type. It looks really cool. This is kind of weird what they've done here because they have like their few contact us links down here, but then you can't scroll. This is like all you see. This is within the viewport. And then over here, I believe you can click through to these and there is just a little pop-up for each of these projects. Really cool idea. I kind of am digging the way that it just keeps you here on the home page. If this is something that that you can get away with doing, you have just a handful of projects and find an easy way to showcase them right here. People don't have to scroll, they don't have to click through different pages. People might like that. They'll see what they're looking for here, hopefully, and then they can contact you. So maybe a better call to action button would be ideal here on the homepage. But other than that, kind of a cool, unique idea. Certainly as your freelance business or agency grows, you're going to want to have more content and information out there, more pictures, preferably of your face, but this is a great start here. The next one is melvindonata.com, and this one actually might be my favorite from the list. A few things that I like. I love the font. This is a very similar typeface to what I use on most of my businesses and landing pages. I also love when they add some variation to the fonts, and so they're using this different font It's italicized, and then they're using their brand color, which is almost like a burnt orange, not quite that dark, but it looks really cool. I'm really digging it. I do like that up here you can see their resume, I believe. I don't know if this is a download. Yeah, so it's actually a PDF download. And then scrolling down, diving right into our work. I feel like a lot of designers are doing this a lot better, where they're not wasting time trying to teach you about design or why you design or where you're from or where you grew up, but really they're just showing the user exactly what they want to see, which is your work. Can you do good work? Do you do the type of work that I'm interested in? And if so, I'm going to hire you. I love the hover effect here, kind of just a little bit of social proof here, you could say. And then before we wrap this one up, maybe let's just click on one of these and see what the case studies look like. So very simple design, just like the homepage. They probably could have utilized an image right here above the fold. You're having to scroll a few times actually to get to any images. Always make sure that your case studies have more images than text, because people don't really enjoy, typically they don't enjoy reading about your work. They want to see your work. And so the more images, the better. Using mock-ups, maybe even having a video that they can watch where you're talking them through it, like a screen recording. That's an awesome way to make a case study more fun and engaging. So I'd like to make another video just like this one going over your portfolios. So if you'd like me to review yours in one of these videos, just drop a link to it down in the comments, and I promise to be nice. Next, we've got Feitan.site. A few things that I like about this. I love when people put images within your headers. I think that's a really fun way to kind of break it up and make it more readable, especially when you have a really long header like this. This is also a cool way to showcase your work. And I do see people utilizing these as links. So when people click it, it'll actually take them to that specific case study. And if you want to get even more creative, you can actually have this as a slider where these images change, and depending on which one they click, it will take them to that case study of that project. So I like what's done here, some good imagery. Right away we're going into our featured work. They're using like the full width of the viewport here, which I'm not a huge fan of, mainly because it just takes up too much space. You can't see anything more than just the image. So I would prefer either breaking down that max width so it's not so wide, or doing one next to the other, or even putting the image on one side and the text on the other. That way it doesn't feel so big and in your face. And then when they click on the case study, then they can see those larger images blown up. But this really just requires them to do too many scrolls to get down to the bottom. But down here they've got a little bit of social proof. One thing that is not going to work very well is having these massive testimonials. Again, people are lazy. Nobody's going to want to read through these big long things. So what I would recommend is condensing them so they highlight only the most important things. You could probably cut out half of this. So maybe here for Yen Chin's testimonial, we could just highlight understanding of our needs and strong skills in graphics, project management, and time management. Maybe that's what they highlight in a different color, just so people that don't want to read the whole thing can see those little snippets, and it's going to just kind of reinforce your skills, and it's going to make them trust you more. And then going all the way down, we've got a Let's Talk button. I would probably put this in a different color. It's just a black button, which doesn't draw your attention, and Let's Talk isn't really an engaging call to action. And then when you click that, it actually just opens up an email. So people probably are not most likely going to want to type out an email and introduce themselves if they're not 100% sure that they're going to get a response. So instead, I would recommend a Calendly link or some sort of form or chatbot or something that's a little bit easier to use than just sending you an email. All right, next we've got XavierCuso.com. This one has a really cool scroll animation. As you scroll, it's going to change the image, and then it's also going to change the wording here. But this is a really cool animation. I do think that it showcases your capabilities. The one thing that I would be careful of is you don't want your website to be too confusing, first off, and difficult to use, but you also don't want to lean too heavily into one specific style or even into like these more complex capabilities, because that can sometimes be a turnoff for people. So rather than getting very specific on your own portfolio, I find it better to keep your portfolio a little bit more generic and conventional, something that people feel comfortable using, and then you can show your skills and your variation within your different client projects. And so then you can highlight these types of cool capabilities, scroll animations, things like that. But I gotta say, this is something that would take me a really long time to figure out. So, I mean, kudos to whoever built this on their team. A pretty cool animation. And then the last thing I would say is maybe a better call to action than these teeny tiny words down in the bottom corner. Our next portfolio is Brett.land. And a few things I love about this: I love white background websites. I love the blue. I always revert to blue or purple. I think they're the most inviting colors. Right up here, you have now entering Brettland. This doesn't do a whole lot for the user. I think the fact that the URL is Brett.land does that enough. And so I would probably recommend utilizing this real estate up here for some sort of value proposition, telling them what you do and how you can help them. Down here, I really like this little illustration. I do think it takes up a lot of space. Maybe they could have this a little bit smaller to the side, something like that, because again, it showcases your capability in building your own cool website, but you've got one scroll, two scrolls before you ever see any sort of like important information. So keep that in mind. Down here, the call to action, okay, let's do it. I don't really know what this does as it's clicked. It looks like this is taking us over to their catalog, which is like their portfolio. Which is nice, but probably tell people like, hey, check out more of my work or something like that, rather than just, okay, let's do it. Here, I do like that they have these different little thumbnail images here. They could probably blow those up, utilize more of this space. The padding and spacing between this grid is a little bit weird for me, but as you click on these, it then, I believe, is going to take you to a more detailed case study with a black background, which I do like that, but they should be showcasing more images here. And it looks like a lot of those are just having trouble loading, which could be something on my end. So definitely a few things that could be improved, but I love the brand. I love the approach to this website. Our next one is colin-moy.webflow.io. So we're just on a temporary Webflow domain, which is a shame because this is a pretty creative website. Kind of like it. You can see as I move my mouse back and forth, these little eyeballs are kind of moving. I guess this one moves based on my mouse going back and forth, and then this one, as I go up and down, it's shifting left and right. And kind of the same thing as our last example, where we're utilizing all of this space above the fold to say my name, Colin Moy, right? And then right here we are saying what we do, but this doesn't make me feel the impulse to take any sort of action, right? As you scroll down, we do have a few other buttons about portfolio and contact, which is great. But I think a lot more could have been done on this homepage. Let's just click for the sake of it. Let's go to the portfolio. I really like that. I like that this opens up. And again, I think this is an issue on my end. The images aren't loading very well. But I remember seeing this, and this is a really cool way to showcase your portfolio. You don't see these shapes very often, like these really tall, rounded corners. And then in the background, you've got the images, and a lot of these are moving. So really cool way to showcase your portfolio. And as you scroll left to right, you've got the eye up here that's kind of following. I guess it's looking the opposite direction. Really cool. Starting out, I wasn't a huge fan of this one, but I really like what they've done down here at the bottom. Ooh, and the contact button as well. That opens up this down here, maybe. Interesting. Very cool. Yeah, a lot of really cool click animations. Very creative. All right, next one, alexbeigeweb.dev. Cool colors, cool font, a little bit of movement. I really love down here, the first thing that really kind of caught my attention was this example work. They're showcasing a lot of different work in these 3 columns here, and they've got them set up as like websites. So you've got like your little buttons in your window right up here, and as you hover over it, showing an eye. If you click on one of these, it's going to pull up this little pop-up, and then down here it says go to website. You can have a link out to your client's websites, but you want to make it a little bit more difficult for people to get there because you don't want users to leave your website. So I would suggest maybe even going into more detail, having more screenshots of the sites rather than immediately just trying to send them away from your site. But this one also has like a little bit of an animation as I move my mouse. You can see those circles in the background are moving around. There's a lot of like scrolling animations here in these banners. Like what you see, and then get in touch. I really like this interaction here as you hover over the button. Kind of shows you a bunch of different colors. And as you click that, again, it's got another pop-up. So very similar to one of our last examples where it seems like they're really just keeping you here on the homepage. Everything is like a little bit of a pop-up. I also like this, showing Alex as the president, sales, creative director, lead web developer, and intern. And he's got all these different images of himself. Kind of a fun way to say like, hey, I'm a one-man band, but that really also showcases his skills because he built all of this on his own. So the last thing I would say about this one is I just like all of the colors. Don't be afraid to get creative with a lot of different colors. So many of us have like our brand color, which in this case is purple, but that doesn't mean that you can't throw in some other colors to just kind of shake things up and make it not feel so bland. He's using colors in the hover states of the buttons, and then also you can bring in a lot of color just by showcasing snapshots of your work. And that kind of goes back to that whole idea of showing variation in your work. The more different types of work you can show, different colors, different fonts, different layouts, the more likely it is that one of your visitors is going to see something that they like. So Alex did a great job with this one. Next, we've got danmachado.com. Again, white background, black text, the product and design work of Dan Machado. I think that's fine. No call to action here that I'm seeing. As we scroll down, he's got kind of this left-right layout, which I think is a better way to utilize the space. We've got text to the left with a button that says they can view case study, and then the image to the right, which shows that it is clickable because it has this little hover animation where the corners kind of adjust there. And then as you scroll down, past brands we've worked with, I would probably utilize this space to show their logos because right off the bat, I didn't really recognize these as companies. So I would probably use their logos there and then get in touch, hello@danmachado.com. Don't really like this hover effect with the line through it. That kind of makes it feel like it's not clickable. But then down here, we've got these buttons. Kind of cool how it changes the whole background color as you hover over them. So Dan, I think this is a solid start. I definitely think that more could be done to make it feel a little bit more unique and personal. But I also think that a simple layout like this and showcasing your work quickly is always going to work better than trying to get too crazy with your portfolio. All right, we've got just two more. JamesWilliams.design. Love the colors, love the slight pink that's used. I love these scroll animations. As you scroll, the words are going to pop up. These look like they should be clickable, but they're not, which seems weird to me. I think this looks like a button. The arrow typically signifies that you can click out to something, but he does say who he works with, which is good. It's kind of establishing his niche. As we continue to scroll down, showcasing logos. This is great social proof. And then down here, we've got his latest work. And then a nice little scroll animation where these cards kind of come over the top and stack. I would say it probably would be best to show this work further up here. I think this is fine to introduce yourself and say who you are, but I think that could be done in a lot less space, and then you could be able to showcase your work a lot more quickly. And then down here we've got get in touch with a hover button that makes a small little adjustment to the size of that block. I think that's kind of cool. And then up here we have a little chat bubble that opens up an email. So JamesWilliams.design, I don't think this is a bad portfolio by any means. I think more images. I always think you can benefit from showing an image of your face, maybe a video, so people feel like they get to know you. But other than that, I kind of like it. And the last one is JennicaHernandez.me. Okay, I love the background color. It's like a slight yellow. I love the variety in all of these colors and the hover effects over these small little icons. This is like we talked about in one of the other examples where you can put images within your header if it's long. In this case, Jessica just used these little icons, which does break up all the text and make it feel more readable. And then you also have different like varying font weights here, which draws your attention to the most important parts. Your name, what you do, where you're from. And then down here, we have a button that says enter, and that's kind of the only thing here on the homepage. So if we click that, it's going to open up, I guess, a new section of the website. You've got about, missions, project, resume, and contact. So for this, let's just click on projects. And this is going to open up this page which says view my projects here, and then it's just got these little folders of the projects, which is kind of a fun idea. This goes back to computer conventions. This is something that people are familiar with. If I want to see what's inside a folder, I'm going to click it, and then maybe let's click one more page of this. Let's go to mission. I love this font. I think that's a really cool font. Love the hover effect. And again, I just think that that she could benefit from some images. An image of you on your laptop, smiling. People want to see who it is that they're working with or who they're going to hire. If they don't feel any sort of human connection with you, it just feels like not a real person behind a screen. And so I would use this page and the home page to show more of your face. But the style of this is really fun, a unique way to showcase your projects. I would just add some more engaging case studies inside those folders, but really cool job, Jessica. So you can see that there are a lot of different ways that you can design your portfolio. And I'm finding new portfolios like this all the time, both good and bad. If you like these types of videos and want to see more examples of portfolios like this, just comment the word portfolio down below, and I'll be sure to put more of these out in the near future. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next video.